Members and supporters of the Heacook family walking out of the courthouse after hearing the sentencing on Friday morning at the Sussex County Courthouse. Good evening. I'm Mallory Metzner.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our news at 6. We begin tonight with the sentencing of Randon Wilkerson, the man convicted in the 2021 murder of Delmar Corporal Keith Heacook.
Randon Wilkerson was sentenced to 2 life sentences this morning in Sussex County Superior Court for 2 counts of first-degree murder. In addition to serving life in prison, Wilkerson received over 200 additional years for other charges he faces, including assault, possession of a deadly weapon during the commission of a felony and by a prohibited person, terroristic threatening, offensive touching, and burglary. These additional sentences range from 30 days for offensive touching to 25 years for assaulting seniors. Wilkerson was found guilty in an October 16th bench trial that lasted less than 2 hours. Friday's sentencing hearing lasted less than an hour, but in those 50 minutes there was retelling of the horrific details of April 25th, 2021, and hope from the defense team to factor in Wilkerson's state of mind. Live in Georgetown in front of the Sussex County Courthouse is Coast TV News anchor Matt Pensick. Matt, on a morning where the murder facts were restated, there was also plenty of emotion.
It was a day of emotion for the family of Corporal Keith Heacook, some emotion too for the family of the man convicted for his murder, 32-year-old Randon Wilkerson. I sat directly behind Wilkerson's mother in courtroom number 1. She had to hear those horrific details that led to 2 life sentences. Superior Court Judge Craig Hartnett said his sentencing represents the top level of severity for each conviction.
A-C-O-O-K, say his name.
Some of the reaction coming out of Sussex County Courthouse after Randon Wilkerson, the man convicted of killing Delmar Police Corporal Keith Heacook, was sentenced Friday morning. Before receiving the sentence, Wilkerson, who looked similar to his appearance at the October trial wearing an orange prison jumpsuit, made a statement to the court, saying he's sincerely sorry and he prays every day for the Heacook family. After learning of the life sentences, Wilkerson was escorted out of courtroom number 1. Before going out the door, he shouted, "God is good always." It caught the attention of Heacook's sisters, who were in attendance.
We're glad it's over, and I think justice was served, but he laughed at the end. So I don't know if he really has any remorse, even though he said he did. They got their just deserve, and hopefully they can live with what they did.
And then murder? Nah. No. My God, no forgiveness.
Similar sentiments shared by Heacook's 14-year-old son, Matthew, as part of a statement read by Deputy Attorney General David Hume. Matthew said that even though he's a Christian, he could never forgive Wilkerson for what he did that morning. I spoke with Wilkerson's mother, Capri Simmons, and she says she regrets this terrible tragedy happened. It is a tragedy that shook our region. And for those closest to Heacook, at least it appears they are satisfied with the sentencing. Live outside the Sussex County Courthouse in Georgetown, I'm Matt Pensick, Coast TV News.
Thank you, Matt. And now let's get a little historical context. Almost 2.5 years ago, Corporal Heacook was a 22-year veteran of the Delmar Police Department. On April 25th, 2021, he was assaulted by Randon Wilkerson while responding to a reported fight in progress in the Yorkshire Estates community in Delmar. Upon arriving to the scene, police say Corporal was confronted by Wilkerson. Dispatchers did not receive a response from Heacook after that. According to police, additional officers were dispatched from multiple agencies and they arrived to find Heacook unconscious inside the home. After efforts to revive him, Heacook was taken to Tidal Health in Salisbury before being transported to shock trauma in Baltimore with significant head injuries. 3 days later, Heacook was taken off life support. His memorial services on May 10th, 2021 brought thousands of friends, family, community supporters, and law enforcement from around the country.
Now, after the sentencing, there's the possibility of an appeal, though prosecutors have previously said they're confident the verdict will stand. As for now, Wilkerson has been sentenced to spend the rest of his life behind bars. According to a court official, a written order for the sentencing is expected to be available on Monday.
And with Wilkerson's sentencing in mind, it's important to bring up that Delaware Representatives Timothy Duke Timothy Dukes and Danny Short have announced that they plan to introduce legislation in the new year that would reinstate the death penalty for anybody convicted of murder of a person of law enforcement or public safety officer. But let's look at a brief history here of the death penalty in the first state. Capital punishment was abolished by Delaware in 1958, only to return in 1961. In 1986, legislation was passed that made lethal injection the mode of execution. Then in 1991, Delaware changed its law for jury to recommend the penalty and then the judge to decide the sentence. Then on August 2nd, 2016, the Delaware Supreme Court ruled that Delaware's death penalty was unconstitutional. And all of this brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know if you think Delaware should reinstate capital punishment for the murder of first responders. Let's take a look at the results from the last news hour.
Taking a look at the screen here, the majority still says yes. That's up to 86% now, so that number has increased. 14% say no. If you haven't voted yet, you still can at coasttvnews.com or on our mobile app. We'll show you updated results on Coast TV News at 11.